League today. This is Liquid versus NRG. Group A, I think it was like the first series of the day. No, second series of the day. This match is kind of important because there's a rematch of it tomorrow, and winner moves on, loser is done. So, yeah, there's a lot of stake. There's a lot of stakes to be had on this match. Right off the bat, Liquid's on defense. NRG is on offense. NRG running Zarya Hanzo combo, Roadhog, Reinhardt, Anna, and defense from Liquid is Id on Mei, Minstrel, Lucio, Mezzer, Reinhardt. Pretty normal stuff. I think Mei is pretty meta right now as far as this map goes, because you can like wall off this, you can wall off this, you can wall people here. You can do a lot of things with the wall. You can like wall them through this choke, you can wall them through this choke. Like you can do a lot of things with Mei. So I think Mei is pretty standard now on this map. Reinhardt, I mean Reinhardt's always good. Zarya's always good. Rafa Zarya specifically is always good. AZK on McCree, I think that this is the mistake, if there was a mistake to be pointed out right now. This would probably be, I mean, like, don't get me wrong, AZK is amazing at McCree, and he hits all of his shots, but against, like, heroes like this, you don't really do that much. The only hero that he can really kill easily is the supports or Seagull, but Seagull's not really ever going to put himself in a position to get shot at by a McCree, I would imagine. So yeah, that's the beginning of this. This is a very like bully-ish comp though from NRG. Like you can kind of push your way through with the 3 tanks, and then you have the Seagull Hanzo as like the backup plan, I guess, or like the in case of emergency. The nice thing about Hanzo on this map, I guess, in specifically, is that this whole area is kind of linear, and it's probably one of the more normal or just like standard areas to hold. So if you can like, if you ever need to flush people out of this like apartments area, like a dragon strike through it can really hurt your team. A lot of teams will fight in this choke too, and a dragon through this is really good for initiation. You get the dragon pretty fast. So, I mean, that's the strength of it. The Roadhog's good. They're running a very pick-off comp. The Hanzo and the Roadhog together are really good, because if you like shoot a Sonic Arrow here or anywhere, you get full wall hacks of this area, and then whenever you turn a corner with Roadhog, you should be able to get an easier hook than if you didn't have wall hacks, I guess. Like the Sonic Arrow plus the Roadhog combo is like a really big combo. And then they don't have the best answers to the Dragon plus the Graviton, so that's another way for them to win. The one thing I don't like about their comp though is that the only person to Ana boost is the Reinhardt and the Roadhog, but both of those heroes will probably get shut down pretty hard by the Mei, because the only way to come through is generally like this area or the side, and as long as you catch the nano boost early, they should be able to freeze whoever the nano boosted target is. I don't know if they're going to stun lock them. Like, they have really good stun lock. They have the freeze, they have the flashbang, they have the charge, then they have like bubbles to keep people alive, like a lot of heals. So this is a pretty survivable comp aside from AZK. But that's, I guess, all there is to say. They have a lot of defensive abilities between the Graviton, the Blizzard, the Earth Shatter, the High Noon. Like, a lot of defensive ults, a lot of offensive ults. I mean, that makes sense, but I don't know why they're calling it the 3-2-1 comp. Doesn't make sense. There's 4 support categories, or there's 4 game categories. So that sleep is actually really big, and then that was a really good response there from Id. It had to keep Mezzer alive, because if Mezzer got killed there by the hook, that would have been the end of the push, honestly, or that would have just been the end of the round, or at least this point. They're just bullying their way through this choke, and there's another really good wall from Id. Gets a free kill immediately on Milo. That shouldn't really happen. I think that they should have seen this coming. They're forcing their way through. I don't know if the teams really care though at this point, because there's no real reason to. I mean, you can try to win the first fight, but they're not running a fight comp. Like this composition that Liquid, not Liquid, the NRG is running is very it's very pick oriented. You have like Sleep Dart to get kills, you have Hook to get kills, you have Scatter Arrows to get kills, you have Charges to get kills, but you don't really have damage as far as like fights go. Like I did this last time and it made sense to me. Like if this is damage and this is like time, if you look at NRG's lineup, all of their damage is like in spurts. So like maybe a fight goes off, you get a hook combo, and then you get a scatter arrow, and you get like maybe some Zarya damage. Like Zarya damage is like this baseline, I guess, because there's nothing else to give to it, and then a charge and a pin. So like you don't really get, like if you don't get kills at this time, or this time, you just pretty much don't get kills. The only way that they get really good damage over time is if they get like a nano boost and a whole hog, and then they really have to protect the Roadhog. The good news is though that like if you can make these points work, like if you can get kills with these combos or like just these one shot abilities, then it's really good. But as far as like winning a fight where it's like drawn out and your cooldowns are off, like once their cooldowns are off, like once Hook is off cooldown, once Charge is off cooldown, and once like Scatter Arrow is off cooldown, their damage is really, really gimped. So you have like one window every like 3 or 4 seconds to get a kill, and that's literally it. On the contrary, the McCree is like constant damage. So like if this was McCree's graph, like their damage would immediately start here with the Zarya, I guess. This would be like Zarya's damage, but then the McCree would bring this line up even higher. Maybe like there as damage over time, assuming he's like hitting all of his shots. And then you have the Mei. The Mei's even more damage over time, like better damage. It's not as much as McCree, but the freeze is an instant kill. So like every time you hit a headshot, it spikes up. Then you still have the charges. So like in reality, Liquid's lineup has a lot more damage than NRG's on paper as far as average damage, but NRG's got a lot more burst damage. Liquid doesn't even really have the best heroes to nano boost because all they have is Reinhardt, I guess. You can nano boost Mei. It's not the worst thing in the world. Nano boosted headshots from Mei do like a ridiculous amount of damage. Like I think it's like 225. So it'll one shot anyone that's frozen. Zarya, if she's fully charged, you don't really want to nano boost McCree because you still have to aim. But Reinhardt's pretty good, I guess. But you have to run Ana on defense. I think a lot of teams run Ana on defense now, and the only reason why you have to is because if there's an Ana on offense, you need to counter it with your own, because you won't have you won't get your Zenyatta ult or your Mercy ult or your Lucio ult fast enough to counter the incoming Ana nano boost. So as long as they need to run this Ana, but their comp doesn't really do that well with it, you know? So that's that. As far as what I think AZK can be playing right now, I don't know that he needs to switch yet. It's one of those things you spawn and you don't really have time to think. You don't know what the enemy team's gonna come out with. They haven't played each other, I would imagine. I don't think that they've been scrimming together all week or anything. I don't think that they expected this comp. They probably expected something more tank heavy. I mean, this is pretty tank heavy, but I don't know if they expect the Hanzo. The McCree's not bad against the Hanzo. The Hanzo and the McCree are kind of the wild cards in these lineups, but as far as him being on another hero, the only other hero that might be good is Tracer or Reaper, because nano boosted Reaper as the tournament went on became the more standard meta of what you want to be nano boosting, because Death Blossom is pretty ridiculous. But they need to figure out what they're gonna do here. Their comp, the NRG comp, doesn't really fight well. They have good ults, they have Graviton into Dragon and they have nano boosted Roadhog, but they're not anywhere close because they're not getting much damage in because there's no fights going on. Their comp doesn't actually want to fight. Their comp just wants to sit back and trade. But you don't really trade. You wind up just trying to get your one-shot combos. So if they don't get a one-shot combo, they don't really have a way to fight because they'll just get outlasted by Liquid's comp. Milo gets nano boosted. He's chasing McCree around. McCree flashbangs him, doesn't get anything out of that. This is a really bad nano boost. And I mean, bad's a relative term, but he doesn't get anything out of it. The good news is that it looks like Seagull got 2 kills with the Hanzo, but you're seeing here the Mei is super good. The cart's gonna move, but I wouldn't expect them to cap here. They might be able to cap here because they don't really have any ults coming up. Rafa has to get back to the cart right now, and Mezzer really can't die. The good news for Mezzer is though that Gods just died, so there's not much shield break on the side of or on NRG rather. So here comes the dragon, doesn't do anything, and that's not really what you want. But you're seeing here, like the fights are dragging out and Liquid eventually loses. Like they don't really have any way to... Once that fight went on for more than like a couple seconds, Liquid was able to get their team back in position and just defend. I think they got a Graviton out of Rafa. They got a miss. I think there was a missed dragon from Seagull. And now you're seeing God switch to Reaper because he realizes like we need more damage during fights. I guess I'll point this out too. When teams run Mei and Zarya together, these two heroes, they're super hard to deal with. Like you need so much burst damage and just damage in general to kill them. Because if you don't kill them in a hook, they had the Roadhog. They don't have the Roadhog anymore. But if you don't kill them in a hook, they don't die. Because you still get the bubble and you still get the ice block. So these two heroes you have to kill at some point, and they're super hard to kill. Like I would say that these two heroes are probably, like people think that the tanks are like Reinhardt, Roadhog, and D.Va and stuff, but I think that these two heroes are probably the tankiest in terms of survivability that doesn't rely on other heroes. Like let's say you have a Zarya with like 200 HP, and then you have 200 shields, then you have your bubble, which is another 200 health, right? So like this HP is the only thing that matters. This regens, and this has a cooldown. So like every 8 seconds you get an extra 200 health. Every time your shield regens, you get another 200 health. So like if you just combo the shields, the regen, and the cooldowns together, like you can wind up with like 1,000 health during a fight as Zarya without even getting healed once. And then with Mei, I think it's 150 heal per ice block, and she has 250 health, I believe. So like if you don't kill this hero instantly, she goes back to full health immediately, and you just like the cooldown's only like 8 or 10 seconds, I think, for ice block. So this is super hard to kill. This is super hard to kill. You have the amped heals from the like Ana nuke, and then that's that. But if you look at this lineup, nothing really kills them. Like they needed the Reaper. The Reaper was probably the hero that they needed the most because you're not killing anything that has a Zarya bubble as Roadhog. So now that they wasted the nano boost, they kind of had to reset. Like they have no ults right now. Seagull got off Hanzo to go to Mei, which I think is a good response. But now they're just mirroring the comp, except they have the Reaper versus the McCree. I mean, I did it backwards, but same thing. The McCree and the Reaper. McCree shuts down Reaper, so if AZK can sit on Gods, they'll do really well. But if Gods is able to get kills on Ida or Rafa, because Gods is the only person right now that'll get kills on Ida or Rafa unless they get frozen by Seagull. But that would like require some misplay, I think, by Liquid or just a really optimal timing. But yeah, that's what I mean. Like they had to switch off this to this Reaper because there's no way that they're killing the Zarya or the Mei without it. And now they have better heroes to combo the nano boosts from Dummy on. So AZK is zoning High Noon. He doesn't. A lot of players will wait to like get kills with their High Noons, but I think he just got a bunch of damage in. I think he like hit Seagull a little bit, he hit Milo a little bit, and I think he hit Dummy a little bit. Like he didn't actually kill any of them, but it's just a little bonus damage because he knows that if he waited an extra second, he probably wasn't going to get anybody with any of the damage anyway. That was a good drop the beat from Minstrel. It's just a free team fight. At this point, when the enemy team switches heroes, like they just switched so many heroes. They switched Gods, they switched Seagull, and I don't know if they switched anyone else, but they switched 2 of their DPS players, or I guess their DPS and their flex. So they like just don't have these heroes anymore. They don't have any ults. There's like 0 ult here for them. So Liquid knows that to some extent, and they don't mind burning this drop the beat because there's no counter, like there's no damage that's going to come out from NRG that's going to beat the drop the beat. And they know that, so they just use the drop the beat to win another fight. Because the timer is pretty bad. You can't see it because the quality of this video is like super awful, but I think there's only 1 minute left right now. So if they just burn, like it's worth it to burn this ult to just take a sure fight because you can burn another 30 seconds off this clock. Like best case scenario for NRG now is they have 30 seconds when they cap. And that's best case scenario, like they have to win right now. Like, so using the drop the beat there is really good because it just ensures that they win another fight. And every fight that they win now is just really super beneficial to them because they don't, like the clock is against NRG right now. Id's gonna have Blizzard, Rafa's gonna have Graviton, so they have a lot to work with right now. But Tim or Dummy's about to have Nano Boost, so whichever one comes up first will probably be, or like if he gets a good Nano Boost, he can win the fight. This is a really good wall. He should have just Blizzarded there, I think. I don't know why he Blizzards the cart, there's no one there. I think that was a mistake, to be honest with you. I'll rewind like, I don't know, a couple seconds or a minute or something. So like, he gets the wall off. I think he should just be blizzarding the Reinhardt. Like he kind of panics. I'll show you where he panics. This is the fight where they win with the drop the beat. Also, Nano or Ana Nuke is really good against Mei. If you hit it on Mei, Mei's ice block doesn't take it off, so you stop healing from the Mei ice block. I think Ana's probably one of the best counters to Mei. I mean, Ana's like a counter to everything right now, but specifically, I think she shits on Mei pretty hard. More so than people give her credit for or acknowledge anywhere. But like, watch this. This is, I don't understand this move at all, to be honest with you. I think it beefs a little bit here. Because Raph is pretty close to Graviton, so they're gonna have Graviton no matter what, I would say. And this is a pretty, he actually like makes a really good play, but then I think he like underestimates how good of a play he made and like doesn't capitalize on it. Like right here, he gets the wall off, and I think it's two players. I think it's the Reinhardt and maybe something else. Reinhardt and Zarya. I think right here you just throw the Blizzard like on this floor. Like, get this kill on Milo. As long as Milo's dead, you'll win the fight. Instead, he like ignores Milo and turns back. I don't know what the call was. That he thought that this was the play. But they drop the beat, Pooks drops the beat, and then he throws it, but there's nothing there. Like, he doesn't get anything. But if he had thrown it to the right, he would have gotten this Reaper and probably Milo. And if Milo's dead, you just win. Like, the Reaper's still alive, the Zarya's still alive, and the Reinhardt was still alive. So, like, he doesn't get any value out of that Blizzard, but I feel like he could have easily gotten a lot of value out of that Blizzard. So it's bizarre to me that he didn't use it better. And I think that that Blizzard was enough for them to lose the fight. Because it just put them in a really awkward position. I think there were a lot of Blizzards today that actually lost fights for teams. Like, C9 lost on Eichenwald today to Method. And it was all because of a bad Blizzard, I'm pretty sure. I mean, there were obviously other things that led up to it. But a single Blizzard was a mistake. Or like, it sealed the deal, I guess. They could have won if they had gotten a better Blizzard off. And I think that that Blizzard could have stopped NRG completely on the first point. In this position right now, they're not looking too bad still on Liquid. They still have 3 ults. They don't have Graviton anymore. They don't have Blizzard, so their control's kind of gone. But NRG doesn't have any high ground on their lineup. So they don't really have a way to deal with the high ground from AZK's McCree. Like, AZK is on the floor right now. I'm not sure why. Maybe they just want to forward hold and they don't care about dropping off the top. And this is the correct response to take a fight right here because you can force ults out and burn more time on the clock. There's only 2 minutes left. Liquid's kind of just living right now. Like, they can do whatever they want. They should just keep fighting on the card as many times as possibly can. Because worst case scenario, you lose a fight or two and the clock will still go down to like 30 seconds. So here. You see like how they die? They all died right around the cart, all of Liquid. Like, it looks like they're feeding here, and it's fine that they feed here because they burned this combo, the nano boosted Death Blossom, which is like the most imbalanced thing in the game right now, I would argue. All of Liquid converged on the cart, and the cart like is still right here. Like, it's only in this area. Like, they just capped and it only made it like this distance. So it's like nothing. They still have to get it up this entire street. They still have to get it around the bend and then into the choke point. But they only have 1:30 left. So Liquid traded 2 ults on NRG and some cart time for the fact that, for like time on the clock, I guess. And it's really good as long as they all die together right now. Nobody should really be trying to live right now in Liquid because there's no point. Like, if Minstrel and Dehang die right now, it's kind of bad. I think that they're gone though. Or maybe they died earlier. But see, they're just diving on the cart. They know that they just have to die on the cart. And this is like, I think a lot of teams don't do this well enough, and it makes a huge difference. Because the cart stopped there while they were dying on it, and now it doesn't matter that they died. Because they'll get back together with their team, and the cart won't have moved any farther than it would have if they had waited, you know, or if they had, like, a staggered death only matters if the cart moves. And I think that people don't realize that so much. The fact that the cart, like, if you, let's say this is the cart, I'll draw for a second. This is the cart, and this is the checkpoint. The checkpoint is the finish line. If the cart's here, and 4 people on your team die, and you're on defense, like the defending team is pushing this way, if 4 people die, the next 2 can't die like here and here. Like, maybe there's 4 dead people here at the cart, and that's really good. But if these 2 people die here, the cart will slowly be moving this entire time. And then when they get these 2 kills, the cart's still going to be moving, and these 4 people won't be able to come out because they're still missing 2, and the cart will still be moving, still be moving, still be moving. But if they die, like, if 4 people die here immediately, and then the other 2 people come in at the same time to stop the cart still hasn't moved. The cart doesn't get any of this distance. So, like, once they die, those 6 people will spawn now. Even if it's staggered, the cart will still have moved the same distance that it would have if they had staggered from far away. But now it doesn't matter because the cart traveled less distance. Does that make sense? So, like, the fact that Liquid or AZK and Dahang jump, or Minstrel and Dahang go back on the cart here to die is really beneficial because it stops the amount of progression that the cart can potentially get. You get it? So I just want to point that out, I guess, for players that don't understand why they would feed there, or like why it looked like they were feeding. Like, see, now they can just sit here. Liquid can just sit here and wait for those spawns. There's like no pressure on them. I like this response from NRG. They get their people on the high ground, but now they're kind of split, and AZK has High Noon. And this is probably one of the best points on the map for High Noon. That kill can't happen. That's a really big kill, but this High Noon is probably... Ooh, that's really bad, actually. They're having a rough time. That was, I guess, a misplay. I'll like chalk it up to a misplay. I feel like if you're gonna High Noon against anyone in this game, especially in like a competitive match of like this caliber, you should always do it behind your Reinhardt shield, or at least ask for a Zarya bubble, because that could have been a pretty good High Noon. Like, he probably would have gotten maybe 1 or 2 kills at least, like maybe 3 if like he was lucky. But he doesn't get bubbled. He's not behind his Reinhardt, so he doesn't get it off. And Minstrel's already dead with Drop the Beat, which is ginormously bad for them. The good news is that their comp's pretty strong still. Like, they're gonna have this nano boost if nobody else dies. They're gonna have Blizzard, and they're gonna have a Reinhardt. So the nano boosted Reinhardt is still pretty difficult to kill, but these are 2 pretty big mistakes from Liquid that like will probably cost them the point. I don't actually know if they lose this fight. And there's a drop to be from Pooks. That just like ensures the fact that they're gonna push. But that's like a 4-man Blizzard? What? That doesn't happen. That's a really good Blizzard from id. And Minstrel actually had time to spawn because of that Blizzard. Like, Minstrel fed early, and then that Blizzard stalled enough time. It completely nullified Pooks' drop the beat that Blizzard did. And then now Minstrel had time to get back and Graviton his team, and Rafa's about to have Graviton. So, like, everything's just kind of falling in place for Liquid. I think that there were some mistakes here, though, in positioning from NRG. Go back to it real quick. Back. It's so hard to do controls on this thing, man. I hate this. What has happened? Why is this so hard? Hold on. Bear with me. I'm new at this. Oh, that's too early. I like have to click. Okay, so there where AZK dies. Watch this. Minstrel just spawned. Pooks drops the beat, and then id drops the Graviton, or the Blizzard. Watch this. Look, everyone's got the buff on them from Pooks, and then this Blizzard comes in and stops 4 of them. Literally 4 people are frozen in this ult, which is incredible because there was no setup. He literally just threw it on the cart. But I think here, NRG starts to panic a little bit. Like, they don't realize that they're still in a decent position. They have the Graviton, they have the Blizzard, and they just wasted Earth Shatter. I don't know where it went. It looks like it hit this wall. Maybe they miscommunicated and threw a wall up in front of the Earth Shatter and it hit nobody. But Minstrel's dropped the beat, or Minstrel Sound Barrier comes out. Dahang pops his ult on, I would assume, Mezzer. And Mezzer's on the ground right now. Gets bubble. This is a really good bubble because it saves him from getting charged. And then Dummy is... Where is Dummy? So look, alright, this is a really good shot, actually. I didn't expect this shot, and I don't think I noticed this. But look at what happens here. You have Milo. Is this Milo? No, this is Mezzer, and he just got pinned by Milo. So the 2 of them are like here. Rafa's like here, I think, with Graviton. And this is Dahang, I think. Who is this? I don't know who this is. I don't really care who this is. This might be id, but it's definitely not id. That's Dahang. Has to be Dahang. So you have Rafa here, you have Mezzer here, you have Dahang here, and look at like the positioning from Dummy and Seagull. I think that Dummy's positioning is the problem, to be honest here. Because like if you watch what happens, he's gonna graviton right in this specific point, and then it's gonna suck in all 4 of these players, or all 5 of these players, because I think Pooks is here too. So there's like 5 people right on the card. It's gonna suck in him, and it's actually gonna suck in Dummy. And I think the fact that it sucks in Dummy is a huge mistake on Dummy's part, because he doesn't actually need to be this far up. He could be like here, 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 anywhere that's not this close to the cart, because you have to anticipate that this graviton's going to come out, and he almost has his ult. So his positioning needs to be perfect, because if anything bad happens in this fight, like a graviton that comes out from Rafa, which is about to come out, they need a way to heal through it and to keep their teammates alive. But what happens here as this like goes on, now they're even getting closer to the fight. Milo gets nano boosted, or yeah, he just got nano boosted. He gets his ult off, but then Rafa is over here, and Rafa hits a really huge graviton right now. Earthshatter comes out from Mezzer, and then this graviton gets 4 people in it. But it gets the Ana, which is the problem. Because now it doesn't matter that their nano boost came out, like they're all just getting cleaved and nobody's getting healed. I don't even think that he got the nuke off. So like that one graviton was ginormous, like props to Rafa, but I feel like NRG kind of blew it by grouping up so much on the cart when all they needed was like 1 or 2 people. Like it was gonna go to overtime, worst case scenario, but you have to realize that Rafa has graviton there. Like he hasn't used it in a while and he's been charging it, so that was just a good play from Liquid, and they got away with a few mistakes that they made. Like Minstrel and AZK didn't actually have to die on that first push. But God switches to McCree here, and I think that that was also a mistake. But they don't have time, I guess, to even think about it. Like, AZK should win the McCree duel 9 times out of 10, but finally they switched to Tracer, though. Like, I think the Tracer pick was good, too. But they gave up the Zarya for it. But now their comp's still a lot different than what they had. They used to have the Reaper Zarya, now they have Tracer and McCree. This lineup's not very tanky and has a very hard time living through these fights. I guess they're kind of running mirrored comps. It's just you still have a really hard time, or it's not that bad, I guess, this comp. It's just you don't have Zarya. And I feel like not having Zarya is kind of rough in general, especially when you're trying to end a map, because you have to go for team wipes, and like Graviton Surge is probably one of the best ways to get team wipes, or just the best ways to set up fights in your favor. They don't have the best way to instantly wipe all of Liquid, because there's no real setup for the Pulse Bomb. So it's like, you have a lot of damage on NRG right now, and then, yeah, there, he switches back. So he switches back to Zarya because they need it. But now that they have the McCree, I don't think the McCree really makes sense. Because there's not, like, McCree gets actually dumpstered by Zarya. In a 1v1 fight, 9 times out of 10, I don't think a McCree is going to beat a Zarya. Like, Zarya has a pretty big upper hand against McCree, and McCree has a really hard time in this, like, tank-heavy meta because he doesn't have any escapes. All he has is his roll and his flashbang, and they're not really that good when you consider the fact that you have to, like, burst down Reinhardt's and Maze and, like, all this other shit, Zarya bubbles, and, like, there's so much stuff that McCree has to deal with that doesn't put him in a good position. I think Seagull makes a mistake there of dying too late. They don't have that much time. Like, they don't have time to be sitting here taking staggered deaths. Like, if you look now, they have all these ults, but it's not really that scary because they don't have Graviton. So unless, like, Seagull gets a really big Blizzard, they don't have the best team fight here. Like, High Noon can be good. I don't expect it to be good. Because, like, Wall can block it. Nano Boost can stop some of the damage. I think Mezzer just had better Nano Boosts throughout this matchup than Milo did. But that was really a big Earthshatter, actually. It's a good sleep dart, actually, from the hang as he dies. Stops a little bit of the bleeding. It's a little too late, though. Like, Liquid's gonna spawn here now, and even though they were down so many ults, they're back up with their own their sound barrier, and NRG has nothing. So if they get a good sound barrier here, they'll be in good position. There's the High Noon. He got dealt with very fast. I don't know what was shooting at him. A lot of things were shooting at him. He went down to 7 HP. He traded, but here comes Seagull. AZK is really good, actually. I want to pause right here. I just left the menu open, I'm sorry. AZK was getting frozen by the Seagull barrier. And he wound up like high nooning during the freeze time and got a kill immediately on Milo. That kill is actually really big. But now Id comes in from the back and stalls the cart, and this is so annoying because Id's at like full HP and they don't have anything really right here to kill him immediately. Like, unless they freeze him, but they're not gonna freeze him. He's not new. So he dies. I'm surprised he died there. Maybe the Zarya was full charge and just gibbed him. Mezzer comes back as D.Va. Like, they're just stalling. They're leaving this Mei frozen or slept on the point. And now they're like in panic mode. All because of that high noon, I think. If they had Milo right now, they might have been able to just win already. Or like they would have maybe won this fight a lot easier. That was really good defense. Liquid's just very good or disciplined at stopping the cart as often as possible. And they don't stagger their deaths in such a way that you get to push the cart for free. Like there was never really a time where NRG was just pushing, you know? Like they always had to grind out the push. Yeah, his earbuds in backwards. And they didn't let him switch until then? Is that what happened? He was playing with backwards sound the entire game. It's unfortunate, to be honest with you. Alright, where's the rest? I think that these maps aren't very fast. Like, they switch sides pretty quick. Like, there was a lot of, like, it was, like, very chop-chop this entire tournament. There wasn't a lot of downtime. So I think, like, I'm sitting here watching these guys talk and, like, scratch their heads and shit, but I think that they go back into this very quickly.
And they used some of it. They actually got the payload further. They actually saved that blizzard. You know, Seagull didn't use it right away. They were getting it towards the end.
The good news though is that they were almost gonna close out the point there. But since they didn't, they don't get the overtime. Like that extra 1 meter would have maybe changed the outcome of this game because if both teams finished, they would have had the overtime to fight the minute or whatever. But the fact that they didn't cap is ginormous. Like, this is only a 2 with 83.09. Like, look how close they were to capping. You can see the overlap here, which is pretty cool. Like, this line, where is it? This line is, like, the normal one. And then, like, you see the overlay here. It's, like, normal line, and then there's, like, another faded line on the outside. And that's how close they were to finishing the map. But they didn't. So the fact that they didn't finish is just, like... it's pretty unfortunate because they don't get the overtime. And a lot of crazy shit happens in overtime. Like teams will get like 1 minute, but then they'll push the cart all the way to the second checkpoint on like a roll. I don't know. It happens a lot actually. But that was a really good job by Liquid to stop. Like now all they have to do is finish the map, and that takes a lot of weight off your shoulders when you're playing these matches if you don't have to worry about the clock at all. NRG is running a very tank comp. This is like a 4-2. Like super tanky, super tanky. You have Roadhog, you have Mei, you have Zarya, you have Reinhardt. So there's nothing. Again, their damage isn't that great at all. They have burst in the Roadhog hook, but everything else is just kind of shitty. But they're super hard to kill, and as long as they live, they're in a good spot. These heroes are super hard to kill, I guess is my point. And they don't have a lot of damage for fights, but they have a lot of sustain. So they'll like drag, if a fight drags out over time, like they'll win, I guess. Because you won't be able to kill them, and they'll just like wear you out. Liquid's lineup actually blows against this. Like this is just a straight up awful comp as far as fighting this. So I expect them to acknowledge this quickly and just like switch, because you're not gonna win this fight ever with like. First of all, I don't like this comp at all. I don't ever want to see this comp. This isn't a comp. Teams were doing this today, I think. Like C9 was trying it. Maybe it wasn't C9. Some teams were trying this. Like they're trying like this Winston. No, was it C9? It was. Oh my God, who's the team? It was Fnatic, but they were doing it on Koth. They were doing Reinhardt, Winston. I think that this is too greedy when it comes down to running 2 healers. Like, these heroes don't have sustain. Like, Reinhardt doesn't have regen, and Winston doesn't have regen. McCree definitely doesn't have regen. Like, you have to heal all 3 of these heroes efficiently enough to win, and none of them really are self-sufficient on their own. and they don't really do that much damage. Like Winston's damage is pretty negligible when it comes down to like Lucio's and Anna's being able to heal against it. Like sleep darts kill Winston's. Like a lot of things. Like Winston just kind of oops on it. But yeah, I don't mind this comp on Numbani defense. I guess if you're on defense, it's okay. I don't like it on offense. I guess is my point. I would like this comp doesn't do any damage. I actually don't like this comp if you're on offense because you're not gonna do any damage. You have a lot of ult wombo combo, but you don't have any damage. As far as offense, like you need damage. You need to be able to get kills. You need to be able to get kills fast. This comp doesn't really do that much damage. Off the gate, I wouldn't run a Winston. I'd probably switch this out for like I either switch Mezzer or I switch Rafa. Like Rafa's it's really weird because I feel like Rafa just played Zarya and he plays Zarya really well. So I think like Id should be playing like Reaper or something and then let Rafa play Zarya. They're like switching up roles a lot, and I understand why teams do this, like why it's maybe Id's like a really bad Winston. They just need a Winston, but when you start switching roles, I feel like it throws off your like chemistry in some way. Like you go from it's like, oh, you start thinking to yourself like, oh, if I was on Winston, I could do this. Or like if I was on Zarya, I would have hit that. Like it changes your mindset, I think. Like I think you should be running McCree, Reaper, Zarya if you're gonna run stuff like this. I don't mind the Mei, but I just don't like this comp, I guess is what I'm getting at. And especially against this. This comp is never gonna beat this comp. So like hopefully Liquid just acknowledges that and switches off it because they're gonna have a really hard time trying to kill these heroes with a Winston and a Zarya. There's like absolutely no damage in this comp. Why is NRG doing this? It's kind of cheeky shit. Like Envious did it once, and then it like bones you if you lose. Actually, you're gonna lose no matter what. If they get a kill, like they need to get a kill. The fact they haven't gotten a kill is crazy. Liquid right now. Like Liquid needs a kill. Why are they bleeding? What is happening? I don't like this thing because if you get a kill or two on, if the offense wins this fight like immediately, it's like really bad. Sorry, I had the menu up again. The thing about this is, or like I'll show you why. I guess they're probably gonna back out right now. Maybe not. Are they not gonna back out? I'll show you why I don't like this idea. Rafa's still on this Winston, which is strange.
I'm expecting something similar here for NRG. You know, it is really hard to make that call right away, but I just feel like these two teams are so evenly matched. And there goes Gods dropping his.
It's really weird that they're getting shoved in so hard. All right, so this kill on Seagull, that's huge. That's all they needed. That one kill, it's fine. Everything is fine now for Liquid. Liquid's in a good position now, or a decent position. Seagull's dead, and they just burned all these ults on NRG. NRG did not need to do this. This is super over aggressive. They wasted this. They wasted Blizzard, and they wasted, I guess, Whole Hog, and they also wasted the Nano Boost. But they traded Seagull. Seagull has like 1.5 miles to walk. So now Liquid should just be able to spawn as 6 and fight into these 5 heroes and just destroy them. Like they have to wait for Seagull now, and they don't even have the Blizzard anymore or the Nano Boost. So they kind of just delayed the cart like 20-30 seconds. It was like 30 seconds. It's probably closer to a minute, 30 seconds. Or was it a minute? I don't know how much time you get at the beginning. I think it's 3 minutes, but I think it's more than that. Probably like 3:30 or something. So it was a really good delay, but you put yourself at an ult disadvantage now. So even though I didn't like Liquid's lineup, look at, all right, this is a bad wall. It's a really bad wall. This wall does nothing. This is a good hook. It's gonna probably kill AZK, who's mid-high noon right now. But the Graviton's going off in the background here, and Mezzer gets a kill on Milo, which is ginormous. Gods, man. Gods is turning up. Now he's in no man's land. That was crazy, actually. Rafa needs to get the hell off this Winston, though. Winston's so useless. Stays on the Winston. There you go. Reaper. Yeah, Mezzer did really well though. They killed Milo immediately, but they didn't have damage because they're running a Winston. And you're not killing a Zarya and a Mei with a Winston. Like it's not happening. Gods is hitting a shit ton of hooks though. Like that was a lot of hooks in that last fight. That was a really good word. That was Earthshatter from Mezzer. It didn't kill or didn't really hit much. Look at Gods. God's having such a hard time doing anything right now. You either hit your hooks and you pound or you do nothing. He's just feeding them ult at this point. I felt bad for Gods there, but I couldn't really tell what was happening because this VOD quality is like super awful. AZK died once he got hooked. He came back as Tracer, so that's a huge change. We'll point that out. Like he's coming back as Tracer, no more McCree. They switch off the Winston, go straight to Reaper. This is so much damage. This is so much more damage than McCree and Winston. This is ridiculously more damage than McCree and Winston. Now you can deal with the Zarya and the Mei with these two heroes because they do a ridiculous amount of damage over time. These heroes are not that easy to hook, let alone kill in a hook, because Reaper has 250 HP, and if you don't get lucky with the shotgun spread, you won't kill him. Same with the Tracer, actually. Like, skinnier heroes are really hard to kill with Roadhog sometimes because you might get unlucky with the shotgun spread. I think that the Zarya is still good. Zarya is always good against Roadhog. It doesn't matter what you do. But you're seeing here, like, Gods wasn't able to get hooks off, so they don't actually get kills because Mei doesn't really do that much damage, neither does Zarya, neither does Reinhardt. They just swing. It's like 75 damage a swing, and you get like your right clicks on Enigma if you have a lot of damage amp. But if Gods isn't getting kills, they're not getting kills as a team. So this comp switch was really good for Liquid, and I think that they should have done it earlier. Like, if you see this triple tank shit, you shouldn't be running offensive Winston. The point of the NRG lineup is to stay alive and not really, like, that's it. It's just to stay alive. They don't need to get kills. They just don't need to die. Like, NRG kind of just wants to burn the clock with this kind of lineup. This is like a delay and like stallish lineup. Like, these heroes don't even really, like, they're gonna live. So if you're not running a hero that can burst them, like a Tracer or a Reaper, you're gonna lose eventually. Like, I think that these hero swaps were a huge part of their success in this push. Like, Seagull's getting kills now, but it's too little too late because everyone else is dead. Seagull actually got a lot of value out of that Blizzard, but Milo's probably going to die here, and he's going to die late, or by himself, I guess. He gets Ana nuked, no heals for him, and now he's dead. And that's a really bad death for Milo. He should have backed out earlier. I guess they want to just burn the clock, but teams were doing this all day today, actually, and this is so bad. How do I put this? I saw teams do this on Hollywood, and I saw teams do it, like, I'm seeing Gods do it now. They try to all in on the first point hold, and they like give up the hero that they're on. Like, maybe they wanted to switch to Tracer, so maybe I'm over exaggerating how big of a deal it is, but obviously he doesn't want to be on Roadhog anymore, so I'm not really, maybe I'm like flaming for this point, but it's not really a time where I should be flaming. Maybe this is fine. But I saw teams today on Hollywood, I think it was like C9 versus Method, where on certain checkpoints, teams were like getting really close to capping, right? Like, they're really close. It's like super close right here. And instead of just staying on their heroes, like, sometimes you can just give up the point. I mean, you don't want to ever give up the point, but teams weren't giving up the point enough, and they would switch to heroes like Tracer and 76 I saw a few times, and these like and like Diva. And not on the last point, just on like the second or the first point of maps to like try to delay it, to like try to win. But the thing is, like, if you don't win that fight, that like first engagement, you just like put yourself at a massive disadvantage because you're on these heroes that, first of all, like 76 does not have any sustainability. Like, you generally burst him before his heal matters at all, especially with heroes like Seagull or not Seagull, Mei and like Reaper and Tracer and stuff like that. Even Ana can kind of deal with 76. Like, Ana nuke is a pretty big counter to Bionic Field. So when you start switching heroes, like, it's only him that switched, so I'm probably just making a point out of nothing, but teams were trying too hard today to stop teams on one specific checkpoint, as opposed to like playing the long game and like just trying to keep their ult advantage. I think it's a mistake. I don't hate the Tracer switch though, I guess, but I don't know what his ult was at whole hog. He probably had nothing. But now they're staggering and they're just getting wiped, and this is not really ideal because now they're gonna get a lot of free cart time on Liquid. And Liquid's actually, those deaths are actually really big too, because now Liquid can get like height advantage and stuff. Like, they can get that entire bank area for free. You don't really want to ever give up the bank area for free. So maybe I was wrong. God's actually like, that was dumb. That was dumb. He could have been on Hog and died, but now he's on Hog with nothing, and he's playing Hog against this. Like, I think that this switch was questionable. Like, everything about that like thought process was questionable. Like, he switches to Tracer to get back here fast, that's fine. But like, stay on Tracer? or go McCree or something, because the Roadhog's really bad actually. Like Roadhog isn't gonna get kills against Reaper, Zarya, Tracer unless he gets lucky, I guess. But I think McCree would be better against a comp like this. Like McCree dumpsters Reaper generally. Even the nano boosted ulted Reapers, like you can flashbang combo and like stop the ults from going off. I mean, you'll probably still die, but you can also neuter AZK. Maybe you won't always kill him with McCree. But like I got done saying how much I don't like McCree on these tank metas. But McCree here specifically is like really hard to deal with. Like you don't ever really have to fight. You can just sit up here and kind of snipe down. Liquid doesn't have good high ground with this comp, and most teams with these in this current meta aren't running offensive Winston or offensive Genji much. So if even if they are running offensive Genji, like McCree's not really that scared of Genji. I would say that McCree though is more effective against this comp than a Roadhog would be. And the fact that he switched off the Hog to go Tracer to get back to the point and then switched back to Hog makes me like think that he only switched to Tracer to get back fast. But he gave up the ult advantage, and now they lost the point, they lost the ult, and it's just a bad position to be in, I guess. Like he could have had full Hog maybe by now. But I don't like I don't like Roadhog into Tracer Reaper. I think it's like a little risky. Like even if you get hooks up top, they're not even the easiest hooks. Hooks from height are like pretty hard to hit the combo on because you have to like shoot down at their models, and models are always skinnier from the top. So Milo falls down. I think he whiffs the Earth Shatter there, or maybe Mezzer blocked it, but now Mezzer just comes in and cleans up. Liquid or NRG kind of came in here really sloppily. Like they got 2 kills, but then they split up and left Mezzer or Milo alone. And Mezzer just abused the fact that they left Milo alone. Like if Milo had been with his team or something, maybe he could have blocked that Earth Shatter. I mean, it was a really good nano boost from Dahang, and Dummy didn't nano boost back. Maybe he didn't have it, but I don't know why Dummy wasn't just up top here, sitting up here, like just waiting for it. Like they're giving up the high ground now. Now this positioning is really weird to me because there's no reason for Dummy not to just be up here right now. And there's no reason, I mean that's it, it's just Dummy. But putting your whole team on the ground is like risky business, I guess. What I'm trying to say. The good news is for NRG that the ults are even, or I guess, I mean they're even because they're not there. But if they don't get work out of this nano boost, I don't know who he just nano boosts. I'm assuming the Reinhardt because it's always the Reinhardt, but the AZK just running around, nothing's doing any damage to him. The Roadhog misses hook and now he's just free rolling around. He just distracted 2 players, he's still on the cart's not rolling back now. And they have to deal with him. So the fact that they're getting kills, like NRG just got a couple kills with I think that combo. Wow, what a god, dude. Yeah, this is what I mean, like, if they had a McCree there, it would have been a lot different. Or just a hero that's not Roadhog. Like, look at him, he just solo carried that fight, actually. They would have lost. He just got like a 5k. This is about to be 6. AZK really turned up in this comp, but I feel like their positioning was really just weird, and their picks were really weird. Like you could just run a McCree from up top and shoot down at AZK or shoot down at Rafa, and there's not really much that Liquid could do about it. They would have had to have dedicated the Tracer to go up top, and then if you're doing that, he's not killing your support, so you don't really care. I'm not sure who got caught in that Graviton, but they didn't get the Ana, so they're burning a lot of ults here, actually. NRG is. And they didn't get a lot of return on those ults. They popped Graviton, they popped... This is way too much, actually, for them to be losing. And it goes back to them having a Roadhog. Like, their damage is so shit. Like, this comp damage is so shit. And you're, like, trying to take fights to them, but you don't need to be taking fights to them. Alright, I'm about to, like, rant. So, like, be ready, guys. If you're running a comp like this, you have Mei, you have Zarya, you have Reinhardt, and you had Roadhog. This was a Roadhog. Okay? You're never getting kills. Alright? It doesn't matter how you combo your ults. Unless you like hit some fat fucking Graviton into Freeze, into Earth Shatter, into like nano boosted Reinhardt, you're not getting kills. So they didn't have Reinhardt. Like, where is their damage coming from? You just Graviton and you burned like fucking 3 ults here. 4, because the Roadhog burned. But like you still don't have the damage to deal with the Sound Barrier from Minstrel, the Ananuke from Dehang, or the shields from what's it called? Zarya. Rafa just walked out of the black hole. Id lived, I guess. He might have died, but it doesn't even fucking matter. And AZK can blink out. He died anyway, but whatever. Okay? So if you have Graviton, you have Blizzard, you have Earthshatter, you're about to have Ananuke. Like, just use them one at a time, alright? Because you're not fucking winning this fight no matter what. Like, you need a nano-boosted Reinhardt swinging into a Graviton for you to get kills. Because there's no other way you're getting kills. You got a Roadhog. The Roadhog's not fucking killing anything. Like, they don't actually kill shields. The only hero that kills shields, that can kill Mezer's shield, is Gods on the Roadhog. So, like, half his damage is going into the shield. The correct play from NRG here is, like, just Graviton. Like, don't even Graviton. Wait till you have nano boost. Maybe burn Blizzard to delay on the cart. Like, let them all freeze on the cart. Maybe bait out some ults like Minstrel's Sound Barrier. Maybe Rafa pops Death Blossom or something, or Id pops Graviton. Like, burn some ults from Liquid, because your comp doesn't need to get kills. Your comp just needs to fucking live. So, like, trying to get kills with a comp that doesn't get kills is a mistake. Enigma has, like, Graviton here, and Graviton's really good with nano boosted Reinhardt. You don't even have to Earth Shatter. So, like, they have Earth Shatter for a fight if they want it. They have nano boost if they want it with the Graviton. You have Blizzard to slow teams down. You have the Death Blossom coming eventually. He just switched. He just switched a long time ago. He didn't have to be on Reaper. He could have been on McCree, but Roadhog was the problem. My point being, if you're NRG here, burning all of these ults at the same time is stupid because you didn't have nano boost. So burning these 3 ults doesn't even get you anything. Like, best case scenario, you wipe them, but you just traded 4 defensive ults for a wipe that just delays the card 30 seconds. Like, there's still a lot of time here. You could have just burned Graviton, or you could have just burned Blizzard. I think Blizzard would have been better because you could have forced out, like, some responses and maybe, like, split them up, because maybe Rafa has to go into Wraith form. The Zarya has to burn her bubbles, and, like, maybe you get AZK. It doesn't matter. But you got the same amount of kills with the Graviton that you would have gotten with just the Blizzard. And maybe the drop the beat was okay. I don't really know. But it probably wasn't, because you weren't saving anyone's life and you weren't using it to get kills. Like, you're going to want one of these ults, if not 2 or 3, to delay or to defend once the cart gets here. Because you just have to worry about this corner. This corner is so much easier to hold as defense because you have high ground on this. You have high ground over here. You have high ground over here. Like, you have so much high ground, and you have the spawn advantage too. So you should be worrying about taking the fight here and not taking the fight at the door, let alone burning 4 ults at the door, because you're just putting yourself in a position right now to get snowballed on and, like, absolutely fucking destroyed. And I would imagine that they're about to get absolutely fucking destroyed because they just got wiped and now they have nothing. They have absolutely fucking nothing. They're gonna have to, like, Milo has to get the most godlike Earth Shatter into, like, street sweeper shit that I've ever seen in my entire life, and I don't think it's gonna happen. Like, look at how free the cart is moving right now. The cart's just like, LOL, I'm rolling. Seagull comes in, tries to fight them by himself, but Dehang hits an Ananuke on him, and suddenly Seagull's in his bubble with, like, 0 HP. So he comes out, he's gonna instantly die. Or maybe not. Sleep on Rafa. Ooh, Seagull actually clutched here. Seagull should have died. The fact that he didn't is pretty ridiculous. I think Liquid got overzealous. But they still don't have that good of ults. Like, they just burned the only 2 ults that they had, and those are probably the strongest ones that they needed. I'm surprised that they actually held that. I feel like Liquid got too aggressive for no reason. Like, they wound up in their spawn door, but only half of them were there, and they didn't have the right damage to kill Seagull on the cart. Liquid just needs to get a good Graviton Pulse Bomb combo, or, like, a good Nano Boost. They're ahead in all their ults right now, which is really good for them. But yeah, Seagull's made it really well there. See, AZK's just in the back. No one can kill him. They don't have any heroes that can really deal with him. He's just shooting. Mezer just got a triple kill. What happened? He didn't even Graviton. He just swung. They didn't even burn anything. Mezer just somehow got a triple kill without using Earth Shatter and just by swinging his hammer. That's insane. I don't know what just happened. I'm assuming that AZK just forced them all into this little area because he was shooting them from behind, so they had to push forward, and then Mezer just came in and swung. But that's a ridiculous amount of value out of a Nano Boost. Like, they didn't even burn anything. Seagull's gonna stagger here, and if he dies, that's really bad. I mean, he's gonna die no matter what, but he won't be alive. Trades for AZK, so it's not that awful. What do they have now on Liquid? They have Graviton, so probably just Graviton the door here? Yeah. Is that enough? Mezzer's in there just swinging, doesn't give a fuck. Earth Shatters. Mezzer carried so fucking hard. This is insane. Mezzer just charged in there, ditches his whole fucking team on the cart, and then like cleans up this Graviton, swings through it, and then Earth Shatters. That was a really good play by Mezzer and id at the same time. Seagull's back on the cart now though, but I don't think it's enough. Like, Minstrel has sound barrier, and Seagull's gonna die. He's like sitting here, you can't see him. That was a really, really, really good play from Mezzer. Mezzer clutched the shit out of this series, because that triple kill here was insane, and that triple kill right there was insane. Like, if you're Mezzer right now, you're like, fuck yeah, I'm the best tank. What up? But yeah, that was really good. I think Liquid burned or not Liquid. I think NRG burned way too many ults at that door fight. They could have done the exact. They could have lost the exact same fight with 2 less ults or 3 less ults if they really wanted to. And they might have been able to hold a little bit better. So yeah, that was map 1.